Hey, Sooner football fans. This is your Sooner football fans podcast. You got Terry and Rob here. Boomer Rob.
Boomer Terry.
And we're coming at you from the beautiful podcast palace in wonderful Norman, Oklahoma, where
it's God's country, but
it's
we
God's
are
country.
not affiliated with the University of Oklahoma.
But we do have eligibility left, and it's God's country for sure, and he's going to bring wrath upon us apparently tonight with thunderstorms overnight. So everybody,
after midnight or something,
be weather aware. If a tornado hits my house at 2 o'clock in the morning, I do not care. I'm just
saying. Guess I have to sleep with some clothes on tonight.
I'm sure all the people across the complex appreciate that, since you don't have curtains either. So,
well, yeah, but you can't see into my bedroom. So.
But anyway, let's get all of our stuff out of the way first. Whatever you're listening to us on, subscribe to it, follow us, go find us on Twitter. If you're not already following us on Twitter, go find our Facebook page. Go check out our website, www.soonerfootballfans.com, and we have stuff about the tailgate, other random things. You can get to our podcast from there, and we also have our blog. Is Scotty being Have, or is he being...
No, he never is.
But we do have a blog. We still don't know what blog stands for, so if anybody wants to DM us, or you can put it out on the stuff, because we don't proclaim to be brilliant. But we do have a blog. It's called It's Just Our Opinion, Don't Lose Your Mind, and it is on our website. And like we've always said, it's just our opinion. It's not that we're wrong, but we're also, it's not that we're always right. It's that we're not ever wrong. So, and you can agree with us or not. We don't really care.
Don't care.
So, it's just our opinions. But remember to go anywhere in Oklahoma City, Norman, but our favorite spot down on Campus Corner, Louis Grill and Bar.
That's right.
Tell them that we sent you, and you can go sit in our...
You may get kicked out.
Yeah, you may get kicked out. You may get bad service. No, but you can sit in our little corner back there. You can find our little flyer back there that says, or banner that says...
Hanging on the wall.
Hanging on the wall. It's there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We think they could take it down when we leave and put it back up on Thursdays. It's possible.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But...
soon to be some Sooner football fan Coke and beer pitchers.
That's right. We're working out a deal to you can get your favorite cold beverage in pitcher form that have Sooner football fans on it. So
I know everybody's dying to get one of those.
They won't be able to keep them. Everybody be stealing them. You know that'll be. That's what
I don't care.
But also go check out tailgateconnect.com. Dan Donnelly's website, where he can connect you with tailgates wherever you're going to be this year across the country. If you want to go to an Army game, he can hook you up to an Army game. If you want to go to a USC game, Tennessee, Florida, he knows people all over the country.
Whatever out of town Sooners game you're going to, he's got a tailgate there, I promise you.
Yeah. So, and he's also setting up the big Sooner tailgate. Tailgate Connect is out in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl for when we go out there and slap the Bruins around.
It's going to be a lot of fun besides the game.
So
I'm taking my two oldest sons out there, so we're gonna have a good time. And of course the one that's a roughneck, he'll already be out there.
He'll already be out there. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun weekend. I think we're making it a 4-day weekend. I think so. Maybe a little bit of debauchery. Thank goodness we know a cop somewhere. And but anyway, again, go check it out. You can sign up to come to the tailgate. It's $40. It's all you can eat, drink, and be merry with. It's not just alcohol. It is family friendly too. There will be things there for the kids and stuff if you drag the kids out there.
I'd say there's a really good chance that I will not be drinking any alcohol.
Not even a little bit?
Nah.
Not even a sip?
No.
Not even a martini?
Probably not.
Probably not. So there's probably 172% chance that I will have a few drinks out there.
172?
Yeah, 172.
I'm taking the over. Right now, I'm telling you, I'm taking the over.
But also, we want to throw out one more thing about our podcast. If you listen to our podcast and you hear the music that comes on right before we come on, that's a band called Iron Glide. They are touring right now, and you can find them on Twitter, and you can also find them on Facebook. Facebook is the best because they put stuff out where they're playing at, and they're playing all over the place right now. JD's a big Sooner fan, and but if you like their music, go find it's on their Facebook page, and check it out. And then if you watch our videos, and at the end of our podcast, the guitar solo, there is from a band called Fever Tree, and that's Michael J. Bertaldo, who is they're in Memphis, but I grew up with Mike, and they're touring right now, and you can find their stuff on Facebook. Teresa and I are actually going out there the 31st of this month, and I think I'm going to get the VIP backstage tour treatment stuff with them. They're playing a gig.
So you're a groupie?
No, I'm a roadie. I'll be a roadie that night. So shut up, Rob.
I'm taking the over on that one too.
But Mike's a big Sooner fan, and I think he kind of recruited the band to being Sooner fans too.
Oh, nice. Well, I mean, how hard is that?
Yeah, I know. I mean, if you want to like greatness, so
easiest sell of the century,
right? So. But anyway, you can go check out. They've got an album. You can find it on. They've got a new album release called Lessons Learned. You can find it on Amazon. I think it's on Spotify. Pretty much anywhere you download your music. And but check out their Facebook page. So it's Sooner fans that play in bands. Rock bands. We should do a podcast with just those guys, Sooner fans that play in bands, and get Mike and JD and find anybody else that is in a band. And speaking of which, I had a fantastic weekend this past weekend.
Because you went where?
I went to Tulsa, and we stayed at Lori's Lodge. Just north of Haskell, Oklahoma.
What's it called?
Lori's Lodge. We're trying to think of
Lodge in Lakeside.
Yeah, Lakeside View, or she says it's a lake, but we determined it's because she's so short. It's a lake to her because it takes her just as long to swim across it as.
Listen, that is politically incorrect, sir. I'm going to need you to use the word horizontal,
vertically
challenged. I don't know about the other one. That may be I don't know, but vertically challenged.
Vertically challenged. Yeah, but she has a beautiful place out there, and she invited Teresa and I to stay there, and
she has a motorcycle. So
she has a motorcycle. That's
instant cool right there.
She has a boat. She has I think I saw some jet skis back there.
If you want her address, just go ahead and DM her. You can go out there and just take it. She's not that big.
Yeah, but she got a big, nice shop with a bar in it. I mean, it's and her pond is full of snakes right now. So,
all right,
it's a good place to hang out. But she also was our Uber driver for the night and took us into the big casino there, River Spirit Casino. And to see
Sammy Hagar
and the Circle, and it was amazing. First thing, Margaritaville, I was extremely disappointed in. I'm not ashamed of it. The margaritas were good, but I'd been wanting volcano nachos. We'd been to Margaritaville down in Florida. Great nachos. I don't know what it was. They brought them out.
They weren't volcano nachos.
They weren't the volcano nachos. But anyway, and you can look out of Margaritaville, Rob. They had the doors open. You can look out there, and it looks like you're looking out onto a beach, but you're not. You're looking onto the Canadian River out there. Oh. But it's a pretty nice place. But saw Sammy, the Red Rocker. If you don't know, The Circle is his band. They've got an album coming out there, but they play Van Halen songs.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, did they play any Van Halen songs?
They played Van Halen, Sammy Hagar songs. They played some Led Zeppelin. But it was one of the best concerts I've seen in a while. Nice. I mean, they were on key, and the coolest thing ever is Michael Anthony. Yes, the former bass player for Van Halen, shook my hand, and high-fived me.
Nice.
And
they're geriatric too, right?
Yeah, they're up there. Sammy is 72 years old and can still belt it out, run, do everything he ever was able to do on stage.
Wow.
And one of the things that I like to do, I started doing a couple of years ago at concerts, I try to get the set list, which if you don't know anything about bands, most of them have a set list taped to the stage so they can remember what song's next, I guess.
It's right down there by the foot button.
Yeah, by the foot button.
Because I don't know the technical term for whatever that's called.
But Mike was walking off the stage, and I hollered at him, and I pointed to it and said, give me the set list. Can you hand me the set list? And he goes, you want the set list? And I said, yeah. And he pulled it up, come walking over and shook my hand, and I said, can you sign it? And he goes, I won't say exactly what he said, but
no.
No, he said, I don't have a pen, but there was a few words in between there. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, man, but hey, I appreciate it. And he high-fived me. And I may have got inappropriately aroused at the time.
Already.
I'm just saying, I'm not ashamed of it. It's one of my, one of my favorite bands, Van Halen, one of my favorite musicians,
right?
Michael Anthony. And I shook his hand, talked to him for 5 seconds, but still, I mean,
hey, Van Halen's one of my favorite bands too.
Yeah, how many people can say that though, that they shook Michael Anthony's hand?
I was going to say, I think a lot of people are kind of fans of Van Halen. But, okay.
So, but anyway, that was my weekend. I was extremely, extremely happy.
So I had a really, really good weekend too.
And then what did you do?
Well, okay, so it was just really. Well, actually, it was just good. Actually, I didn't have a good weekend at all.
Did you go to the baseball game?
I worked all day.
I worked all day Saturday?
Yeah.
Did Caleb show up?
No.
No. Dummy. He even got your phone number, didn't he? I can't believe he didn't have it, and then he just ended up not going. He dog sat the rascal, the podcast bulldog for us. So
yeah.
But he said he was going to go. I'm surprised he didn't come.
Nope.
But well, I'm sad that you had a bad weekend. So, but we've got a Sooner fan coming on. He's been on before. He'll be on here in just a little bit. Scot Ford I want to say he's somewhere in Texas. So, one of them Dallas Metroplex places. We'll find out for sure, but he's going to be on.
It's a pretty big area.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit of recruiting. And, if anybody is new to the podcast, we're just letting you know right now we don't know anything about recruiting.
Not much.
If you're listening to us to find out the inside scoop on recruiting,
you better go listen to James Hale.
You got the wrong spot. But we're just going to talk about what's happened the last few days.
As fans.
Yeah. A little bit of Oklahoma, the O-line. We're going to try to get out of the draft talk because I'm a little bit tired of talking about draft. And, of course, we've got Sooner bucket questions, Sooner not a Sooner, and we'll have Scott help us find a new slang word.
And we'll have to quit bogarting the word bogart.
Yeah, we'll have to quit bogart. We're trying to bring back slang words in the past. So, Rob, what do you want to start with? Anything jump out at you
that's happened this week?
Yeah.
Well, I'd just like to talk about the girls' softball team.
Okay, well, that's the only, you don't have to say girls softball team. It's the softball team. Okay. It's not the girls.
I know you're kind of weird about this, but.
Just like, I would rather talk about the men's football team. Does that make sense, Rob?
Well, I'd rather talk about the women's football team.
Well, then let's just start out with that because that's a boomer, right? We're giving out boomers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a boomer. Boomer. Give a boomer, Rob. Boomer.
Like Billy would say.
Boomer. Go ahead.
That's not how Billy would do it.
Go ahead. Give the boomer, Rob.
I did.
Okay, Oklahoma softball. Well, you got stuff there on it.
My bad.
It's crazy. They of course beat the Okie Stank, which duh.
Well, you know what? They're not too shabby. They were ranked 13th.
But Oklahoma went 18-0. This year, the softball team did. In conference.
Yeah. Overall, they're I can't remember now.
Yeah, but that means they've won. What's the math on that?
Just read it out. Just read it out.
Yeah, here it is. There's back to 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 back. Big 12.
We're just gonna call that good. We don't know.
Eight straight conference championship, regular season. The 8th straight, and the second year in a row that they've been undefeated in conference play. Yep. First time ever.
Yeah, and they're just rocking the number 1 spot all the way to the postseason. They're going to have a regional and a super regional.
Yeah. They're never going to leave Oklahoma.
No.
The rest of the year.
No, they won't. And, I mean, not only are they the number 1 team, but they're the number 1 hitting team in the nation.
Yeah.
And I want to say they're 1 or 2 in pitching as well. So they're pretty stout.
Yeah. And, whose job, I heard this on the radio, and, we'll throw this out there too. Whose job is more secure, Patty Gasso's or Lincoln Riley's?
Man. Gosh. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Patty Gasso's been here for 27 years.
Yeah, and
she's won more titles than he has.
and not only is one, just dominates the sport. Even when she doesn't win them, they're still dominating the sport.
Even last year, they only lost 2 games last year until they made, and they only lost 5 overall.
Right.
And 3 of those were in tournaments. So.
Yeah. So, and then, they're building the new softball stadium, right?
Well, when they get the money, they will.
Yeah. But is it automatically Patty's Palace?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's the house that Patty built for sure. Am I right?
Yeah. Well, the one they're at is the house that Patty rebuilt.
Listen, every home softball game is completely sold out.
Yeah.
There is nowhere to sit at a softball game.
That's crazy.
Of course, they only seat 1,100 or something.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, every one of them are sold out.
Yeah. It seats more than that. It's got to seat more than 1,100.
Let me Google it on up.
Yeah, Google it on up. So we will be here for the next 4 hours waiting on Rob to Google.
That's not very nice.
But, but it's crazy that there's a team, a team out there. Oklahoma softball is the Alabama of softball right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They are always in it, expected to win it year in and year out. And if they lose, it's not a letdown, but it's an upset. You know what I mean? It's nobody's going to get mad if they don't roll through if they don't get there. Well, if they get there and don't win, everybody's just going to say, hey, we're there again. And she won 3 straight, right? 2 straight.
She won 1, they missed, then they won 2 straight,
right.
And they missed last year.
Right. So 3 out of 4 ain't bad. How's that Googling going, Rob?
It's going. I'm almost there. I'm telling you. Yeah, they're the favorite to win it all again this year. So, all right, I'm about done with this. Oh, here it is. 1378.
13,000 or 1,300?
1378, 1,378 official capacity, largest crowd. Guess when?
This past weekend.
You won't even get it close. It's 2014. It was 1,941 against when Tennessee came to town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, why isn't that stadium bigger?
Well, typically,
because I guarantee there's more people at a softball game than there is at a baseball game.
I don't know about that. I don't know. It's not this year.
I've been to some games at the baseball park. That's pretty sparse.
Well, on average, but baseball has more games.
Yeah.
But on average, there probably are more at the baseball.
Yeah.
Because it just holds more.
Yeah. But the bad part about college baseball and softball, to me, it's too dang cold.
Yeah.
I don't like sitting in the stands watching I want it to be warm with a cold beer and a hot dog. That's all I want. Well,
there's only 2 weekends left here, so
yeah. But 13. I thought it looks bigger than that, but there, it is what it is. But
official capacity at L. Dale Mitchell, by the way, is 3,180.
Okay, so it's a little more than double the size, a little less than double the size.
Yeah. Plus, they got the hills.
Yeah, they got the berms.
So normally in a baseball game, the berm out there, a bunch of college kids will pull up in a pickup with a sofa or two, sometimes two, and they'll just unload them right there on top of that berm, and then they'll pull off. And not last game, but I don't know, a couple weeks ago, they had a pretty good crowd out there, and they were a bit unruly.
Unruly?
Yeah.
Well, they're college kids.
Yeah.
Before we get to Scott, let's go over this. We'll talk about this with him, but we'll see what games I know he's younger than us, which most people are nowadays. But let's talk about future schedules, because Oklahoma added another big dog to their future schedules, which was Georgia in 2023. So in 2019, we opened up with Houston. We got South Dakota, and then at UCLA. 2020, Missouri State, Tennessee again. Sure are playing Tennessee a lot. And then we go to Army.
Let's see, has Tennessee beat us?
Nope.
No, okay.
Okay. 2021, Nebraska.
This is the one I like.
Yeah, this is the one, we'll be alive for this one. Right.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully. And then 2022 at Nebraska.
We're going. I'm calling it now. We're going to Lincoln 2021.
That's the game we're going to in 2022. 2021, it's here.
Oh, 21, okay.
Yeah.
2022, we're going to Lincoln.
Okay.
I want to get some of those corncob forearms like that dude had in Yes Man. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Yes, doing that. Okay?
Okay. And then 2023, we got Georgia here.
I'm surprised they agreed to just a single home.
No, the follow-up game's in 2031.
Well, good Lord.
2024 at Tennessee, 2025 Michigan, 2026 at Michigan.
We need to go to one of those, either Tennessee or Michigan.
Yeah. 2020
or both.
2027 LSU, 28.
I don't want to go to LSU.
I don't want to go to LSU either. Now is when we get to the games I'm not sure that we'll be able to make. We'll either be, like I said in a tweet earlier this week, we may be watching it from a fine retirement center lobby. 29, we got Nebraska again. 30, we got Nebraska. 31 at Nebraska. Yeah. 31 is the return game for Georgia. 32 is Alabama, 33 is Alabama, 35 is Clemson, and 36 is Clemson. Not sure I'm going to make those games.
Yeah, we will.
Well,
it just goes to show you that big-time programs are not afraid to play big-time, except Alabama. They play Citadel every year. That's embarrassing. Why do they do that?
I don't know, Rob. If we ever get press passes, we can go to
I'm asking him.
Yeah,
hey, Nick, why do y'all play Citadel?
Yeah,
that's
Citadel.
Just embarrassing.
What are they? What's their mascot?
The Citadel. Bulldogs.
That's right.
Okay. Yep.
That was the first time, for those of y'all who don't remember, that was Rob's first attempt to Google something. We found out from a listener that his first grade son Googled it before Rob did in the car.
That was a little embarrassing. But I remembered, so I don't have to Google.
You didn't have to Google this time. You learned from your mistakes.
I bet that kid don't remember.
But anyway, let's go ahead and give Scott Ford from Texas. We'll find out where he's from exactly in Texas. So let's give him a call and talk a little Sooner fan football. All right, Sooner fans, as promised on the phone from Carrolton, Texas, we have Scott Ford. Scott with one T. Boomer, Scott.
Boomer, Terry.
Why is your name one T? Did I ask you that last time you were on?
I'm not sure. I mean, my parents have, or my mother has a lot of siblings. One of them is a lifelong bachelor. I think he's about 60 now, and they were like, he's never going to get married. And so we'll name our child after you, so that way the one T spelling carries on. And so, my first name is Joseph, and when I I was in kindergarten. They were like, write your name. And I was like, Joe. And they were like, no, write your full name. And I could not spell Joseph. So I erased it, and I was like, SCOT. Done. Right? Like, that's super easy. And ever since then, they were like, oh, Scotty or something like that. You know, Scottie Pippen was real big back then, so that was really easy for most people to remember. So that just stuck.
And see, here's another thing. Was last year when Scott was going to be on the podcast, we had a date set. What happened, Scott?
I fled the country on my honeymoon.
Okay, and then this year, Scott sends in his podcast request. I sent him a date. What happened this year, Scott?
I was like, oh, I'm fleeing the country again on my 1-year anniversary.
So I was like, really? You know what you could have really done is made the wife really happy, and we could have done it while you were on your 1-year anniversary trip.
Oh, that would have been good.
Yeah. So where did you go? Now, where was it last year? When it
Last year we went to St. Lucia.
Okay.
Nice.
And this year we went to Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to stay in the same time zone this time because I was like, last time it was only like an hour off or something like that last time, but for some reason it just was murder trying to get back on schedule for like work and stuff, and I was like, I don't want to do that again. So Jamaica's still Central Time. So that was.
Where did you go in Jamaica?
Let's see here. We landed in Montego Bay. I think we went to Negril. I think that's how you say it. So.
Yeah, Montego Bay is not everything it's cracked up to be, is it?
Yeah. They said that if we were going to stay there, like, don't leave your resort or whatever.
Yes.
Stay on where the security is and everything like that. Don't just, like, go wandering around looking for, like, souvenirs or whatever, because you might not come back.
That's for sure.
See, that's why I don't fly to other countries.
Mm-hmm. Take a boat, like I did. They wanted to braid my beard. I'm not kidding.
In Jamaica, they wanted to braid it. Did you let them?
No.
Was it a guy or a girl?
I let them in Mexico.
Was it a guy?
No, it was a girl.
It was a girl?
God, it wouldn't even been a question. No, dude. Step back.
But, so, did you have a good time?
Oh, yeah. Just not working is fantastic. I did get one text from my manager at one point who was like, hey, this person said this thing. Did you do that? I'm like, yes. I talked to that person face-to-face before I left. So if they're saying anything, they're full of crap. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. Have a good time. I was like, yeah, thanks.
So now, how long did it take you last year to get out of the doghouse with the wife? Because I remember when you came by the tailgate, it was still fresh on her mind, and that was
it's always fresh on their mind.
Well, you asked when I got out. Really what it is, I've taken up permanent residency as a result of that comment. Like, the doghouse is just my house.
Yeah, because you were forced to become a Texas resident or something like that.
But not a Texas fan.
But not a Texas fan.
But not a Texas fan, never. I mean, it's gone a little further. I had to get my driver's license done here because it was about to expire. And I was like, I'll just go back to Oklahoma and get it renewed because it'll take me 10 minutes in Oklahoma. And then they were like, well, if you have a car registered in Texas, you can't do that. I was like, for the love of God. So I go over there, and she's like, well, your driver's license is about to expire, and if it expires, then you have to take the driver's test. And I was like, no, the hell I don't. So she was like, you need all these forms. I need a stool sample and a urine sample and all kinds of nonsense. So I went there. I waited for about 4 hours. I had a lady check my documents. She told me I was good. I waited another 2 hours, and then I had the person tell me I was missing Form 89C, blah, blah, blah. So I had to go get that, come back another day. I finally got it done, but I understand why people get so frustrated with the DMV.
See what you should have done on the very last one that you had to sign your name, and then get in red ink "Texas sucks" and put next to it. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they already know.
Yeah, they already know that. So, let's get into a little bit of a Sooner talk. Rob and I just finished before we got you on talking about the teams that the University of Oklahoma has been scheduling here recently.
Yeah.
And actually, Rob and I were trying to figure out which games we were going to still be alive for that they're scheduling or physically able. They just landed Georgia for 2023, but the return game isn't until 2031.
Wow.
Yeah, so, but we've got, of course, at UCLA this year, at Army. Those are the two games Rob and I have highlighted as the games we want to go to.
Is Army next year?
Yeah, Army is next year, and they might be playing that in Yankee Stadium, which would be like uber cool.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That'd be
Where?
really cool. Yeah.
Yankee Stadium.
No, I want to go to West Point.
West Point. Well, they're fixing to start a renovation. South Jersey. Bill from South Jersey was saying that they're fixing to start a renovation.
Well, we can still go down to West Point.
Yeah, we can go down there. I think.
Well, I hope so because I want to go to West Point. I mean, Yankee Stadium would be cool too, but I still want to go to West Point.
Yeah. But are you going to make it out to either one of those games, or are you going to try to go to the UCLA game this year?
I know my wife wants to go to that one. I don't know if we'll make it out there, but I know I really want to try to make it to the West Point game.
Yeah.
If it's not going to be at West Point, I might not go just because that was the whole. I was like, I want to go to West Point. You know?
Yeah.
Well, West Point's really close to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
if they let just anybody in there, then that might be a nice little trip.
We need to give our man Bill a call, William, and ask him how far West Point is from Yankee Stadium.
I think he said it was 2 hours.
Oh Lord, that's not close.
Hour and a half, 2 hours. I think I could be completely wrong. I know he's listening to this podcast.
Huh.
So Bill, put it out on Twitter. How far?
How
West
far?
Point?
It's 2 hours Oklahoma time or 8 hours New York time, or how's that work?
Yeah, that's a good point
Yeah,
too.
right.
But the one that we're really looking forward to is 2021. The rivalry renewed. Nebraska will be here.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's the one, and then we're going to Nebraska in 2022.
Hey, and me and Terry are going to get those corncob arm things like that dude wore in Yes Man.
Do you know what he's talking about?
You ever seen Yes Man?
No, I don't think I've seen that.
With,
Yes Man. Yeah,
what's
I've
his
seen that
name?
one.
Bill Carey. No, what's his name?
Bill Carey.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
Oh, wait. I was like, I don't know if I have seen that one.
You remember in that movie where he painted his body and he was wearing the corn cobs?
Yeah.
We're doing that, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
We're doing that.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, and then we got Georgia here, so we're pretty sure we're going to be still physically fit enough to make those games.
Possibly.
We got Tennessee, Michigan, those probably, but then we start getting into the 2029 Nebraska 2 years in a row again. 32 and 33 is Alabama, and 35 and 36 is Clemson. So,
35 and 36 is Clemson? My gosh.
17 years from now.
So, the question is, will either one of the coaches still be there?
Hmm.
I hope so.
Yeah. Lincoln will still be pretty young.
Wait, Dabo's kind of old, isn't he?
I think he's. I don't think he's Stoops' age, but I think he's between Stoops and. Oh God, Rob's going to try to Google. So Scott's going to be me and you talking here for a little bit because.
All right.
Hey, Siri, how old is Dabo Sweeney?
Oh, now he's trying to talk to Siri about it.
Do you guys ever
49.
watch any rodeo?
Rodeo? Not really. No. I've been to a rodeo.
Well, if you've ever seen, people ride the bull, then they get bucked off, and the rodeo clown has to try to, save their life, basically, and distract the bull.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like Dabo Sweeney's face was meant for.
He does kind of.
I'm going to refer to him now as Rodeo
The rodeo clown Sweeney or Dabo the
Clown. Dabo the Clown.
Somebody.
That sounds like a clown name.
It
That
does.
sounds
Yeah.
really believable.
Yeah. But what's funny is, he played at Alabama. He wasn't any good. I think he played in like one play. But if you see him in a football uniform, he is the most un-football looking person I've ever seen, He looked like
those who can do, and those who can't do, Coach.
Yeah, he looks like the little four-eyed kid on Little Giants. Don't be talking about my mama. That little kid.
Oh, God.
That's what he looked like. Big old shoulder pads and this little bitty. No, but I know you're a lot younger than us, so you're probably not worried about getting to see Clemson here.
Yeah, I'm thinking about, am I going to have kids old enough to take?
17 years from now, if you get on it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well,
they'll make it to the Alabama one for sure.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to need, this year we're getting ADA seating because of my wife's, the lovely Teresa's issues, and we got our little scooter. But probably by then we may have, I don't know if you can get a double scooter parking for OU games. I may have to.
Well, she can just get a wagon and drag you around.
It's funny you say that. Next year when we go to the Norman Music Festival, I'm taking our little pull behind wagon, and I am sitting in that wagon, and she is pulling me around. And her little scooter runs 25 miles an hour.
Oh, Lord.
So it'll pull.
Dang.
Yeah.
Hey, Terry, what happened to your face? Oh, a little road rash.
But, yeah, because she was, it was cool because I hooked my chair to the back of it, and so when we did stop, I would sit down because normally at those things you don't ever get to sit down, but she was in her scooter. And
well, Caleb's a big, strong boy, isn't he? He should be there. Have him. I brought you into this world, now you carry me around.
Again, I will tell you the same thing I tell Dan Donnelly, the tailgate guy, was like, we were going to have a tailgate at the spring game. And I was like, no, I think we're just going to do this. I said, it's just a lot of work. And he goes, well, get Caleb to help you. Obviously, you never sat down and talked to Caleb. Now, Caleb has a great job, is a great worker, but Caleb's more interested at football games and around that stuff of consuming adult beverages. And and avoiding as much work as possible. He literally leaves the tailgate like an hour early. Oh, I gotta go. He goes and gets an Uber. It's like, really, you're not going to stay and help me? Well, I gotta go here. Me and so are going there. So, yeah, I don't rely on Caleb for much of that stuff. So,
well, he's not really that good at showing up for the podcast either. So.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, he thinks about it. Now. He's told us to change the nights on Tuesday nights because Tuesdays is late night at work, but don't know if we're gonna do that or not. But did you see also today we got a new offensive lineman committed?
Yeah. Nate Anderson, 6'4", 262-pound offensive lineman.
They must feel like they can put some weight on him.
Yeah, they're saying he'll be playing at over 300 by the time he's able to play.
So if he's a 2020 guy, he's a senior, right?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get confused. They say like, oh, this person's a junior or something like that, and I'm like, but it's 2021, but I forget we're in the off season or something.
Yeah.
And I get confused. I'm like, so how long until they're on campus?
Exactly.
Crying out loud.
Because and it hasn't been but the last 5 or 6 years that you start talking about the class way before. Last year we were talking about the 2020. We were getting guys are committing as sophomores and juniors now, and
then decommitting.
Yeah. Well, and I saw, it's a terrible story, but there was a phenom 8th grader that had 2 offers. I want to say Florida and somebody else. And he was in junior high. He was after a dance party and got shot. But only in 8th grade. But I was like, a college offered this kid. It was one not very big name, but they're going after these kids now as freshmen and sophomores. So,
right. Well, they said did they offer Spencer Rattler when he was like a sophomore?
Yep. I think he committed when he was a sophomore.
Really?
I think he did. I think he's been committed.
Him and who's the running back for our 2020 class? I think it's McClellan or something like that.
Yeah.
Jace McClellan. He's been committed for forever. I remember when they announced that, I was like, oh, yay, a guy from 2020 committed because we're going to keep that guy. And then someone was like, oh, next year he'll be a 5-star too. I'm like, yeah. Okay, we'll see when Alabama and Georgia and them come calling if he stays. So, but he has.
Yeah.
Good on him.
And you know, I mean, Lincoln has been pretty good. You know, pretty much the New Wave 19 class, the commitments he got, the early commitments he got, stayed.
Most of them did, yeah.
Most of them did. It would not.
What's one of the running backs, the real fast running back, Jalen Knighton or something like that?
And you know, Theo Weiss, you know, they did that big announcement on spring game last year, and all those guys stuck around. So, but Theo and them, they were ready. They've been here since January, which is great for you know, for those guys, because they're going to be they're going to be catching some balls this year. Now, before we went on, we talked about our prediction for last year, and Scott, you want to share with what the prediction that we had was?
Right. So last year I came on here, and we, in our infinite wisdom, having viewed the spring game thoroughly in the inclement weather, that Kennedy Brooks was pretty spectacular, had over 100 yards rushing in the spring game, because that means a whole bunch with the two-hand touch tackling that we do. And we said, that guy looks pretty great. I don't miss Abdul Adams too much after seeing that. And then he proceeded to have 1,000 yards this past season and averaged something like 9 yards a carry, like 8.9 or something absurd.
All the while looking like he's jogging.
Guy does not look like he's running. I mean,
very leisurely stroll all the way 90 yards to the end zone.
Yeah.
So we need to crown a newcomer of the year or something, I suppose, because, anytime we get together and talk about somebody, they have a breakout season.
Yeah. And on the Brooks, that Rob actually asked that question at the barbecue joint.
Rudy's,
remember because they take fan questions, and you ask how fast he was because he looked like because he looks like on TV he's running in slow motion, and Lingo's like, I can assure you it's not slow motion. That's
he's fast. He just don't
look like he's moving. So who I pulled when we were talking about it before. Cornell said, well, Jalen Hurts, but I think that one's kind of
low hanging fruit.
Well, I mean, he better be good.
Yeah,
if he's not, we're about to be really annoyed with the football season. So, what do you guys think?
I think what's it? Hazelwood? Isn't that his name?
Hasselwood. I don't know.
Jaden.
Yeah, Jaden Hazelwood.
Yeah, I think that's going to be. I mean, CD is going to do his thing. He's going to get his catches. But one of those three, Theo. But I think Hazel, because, man, that kid can jump. I mean, he can jump out of the stadium. I think we're going to see that guy break out his freshman year. That's my call. Rob?
Oh, I get to choose one?
Well, we're going to try. Do you agree with that, disagree?
I'm sorry, yeah. Yes.
Pay attention, Rob.
No, I was paying attention. But listen, CD is your go-to. He's still your go-to guy. So somebody else is going to step up. It might be Austin Stogner or something like that. But definitely.
That's one I didn't think about was Stogner.
Well, yeah, Calcaterra last year was really good to start the season, and then he hurt his shoulder. And then really at the end of the year, all of a sudden he kind of came alive again. And if Austin Stogner had been here when Calcaterra was hurt, then, he just would have fallen in with that. Which I guess doesn't who's there's number 84. Is that Lee Morris?
Yeah.
The guy who just
only
every time he catches the ball, it's a touchdown.
That's all he catches is touchdowns. So.
Yeah. So I guess him and Calcaterra play out of the same spot on the field. So technically, I guess, his emergence last year was probably when Calcaterra was hurt. But, Austin Stogner's a good pick. If I had to pick one on just watching the spring game, I think I would pick Trajan Bridges. Yeah. Because it looked like his two outrageous catches were both like, it was not an awesome pass, and he found a way to catch it.
Yeah.
And I feel like with Jalen Hurts, and he's going to have 1 year, and a lot of people try to be like, oh, Kyler only had 1 year. Kyler was backup to Baker Mayfield for what? He sat for a year, then was the backup for a year. So he wasn't here for 1 year, let's be honest. He started for 1 year.
Yeah.
But he had plenty of time to soak up the system and see how another awesome quarterback was handling the situation. So Jalen Hurts is going to need a little bit of help. And I remember when he wasn't on our team, Jalen Hurts, and I'd see him throwing the ball, and I swear it was just like he would just toss it in that general direction, and all of Alabama's 5-stars would just make these magical one-handed, no-look catches for 75 yards and a touchdown. And I go, this quarterback's no good. They're just dripping in 5-stars. That doesn't mean anything. Well, now the shoe's on the other foot, and I'm like, I hope that's exactly how it works.
Yeah, I think that's probably the play was Jalen throw it up, somebody go catch it. That's not a bad play if you got the wide receivers to do it. So.
And they have the people. Yeah, we actually have enough people. Because, I mean, if these 3 guys weren't here, Jaden Hazelwood, Trajan Bridges, and Theo Weiss, who's the other guy you just said, Austin Stogner?
Yeah,
so
Stogner.
4 guys.
Yeah,
so
Stogner's
if the 4
tight
of
end.
them weren't here, then it would be CeeDee Lamb and Calcaterra, and that's it.
Yeah, well, but I mean, somebody would fall out of the woodwork, I mean, because CeeDee Lamb and Hollywood fell out of the woodwork,
Well, and then the kid that's from Norman, what's his name? I can't remember his name right now.
Basquin.
Nick Basquin. Yeah, he's pretty.
I hope he's good. I feel so bad for him with he's torn both Achilles. I cannot imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible. But I like what he said about Jalen Hurts throwing to 5-stars. I mean, next year, that the number 1 and the number 2, who's slated to go those 2 spots in the draft?
Who?
Tua Tagovailoa and Jerry Jeudy.
No.
1 and 2. 1 and 2.
Yeah, that'll change.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Nope.
Jerry Jeudy
Other than Hollywood,
fantastic receiver.
He is. Yeah, he's really ridiculous. I don't really think that wide receivers should get taken that high. Hollywood could have gone number 1 for all I care. He was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't really think that, if I have to have an NFL team and pay attention to the needs of a team, you're never, in my opinion, you do not need a wide receiver that bad.
Yeah. It's a good point. Yeah. Well, real quick, earlier we're giving out boomers, okay, and boomers are like high fives, or shout outs. So we're giving out boomers. We gave out a boomer earlier to the Oklahoma softball team.
Not the ladies softball.
Not the girls softball team or the ladies softball team. It's the Oklahoma softball team. You understand that, right, Scott?
Absolutely.
See, Rob doesn't understand that, okay? But we gave a shout out for them, winning their 8th straight Big 12 title, went undefeated in Big 12 play again. So that was the shout out. We're giving out another boomer right now. You ready, Rob?
Yep.
Boomer. Okay, come on, Scott. You got to join us. Boomer.
Boomer.
We're giving out boomers to the Oklahoma University long snapper, Casey Kelleher, earned a scholarship today. He's from Peninsula, Ohio. Kelleher played in all 14 games last season. As a long snapper, so earned himself a scholarship, which I've said this before, if you want your kid to have his college paid for and be a millionaire, teach him to deep snap. There was a deep snap school, it's the easiest job in the world. You play what? If you play at Oklahoma, you don't play that many plays.
I mean, we had more touchdowns than he had snaps, I promise you.
And I think it's like 1.4 seconds is the average time, or 0.4, so I can't remember what it is.
We need some Blinken stats on this deal.
Yeah, we need Blinken to drop the stats on that. But I mean, if you can snap it back there with force and stuff, that's your job. I mean, it's illegal to put somebody over you at every level of football.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to get hit, and if you really want to be rambunctious, you can go down and tackle somebody, or you can just stand there,
or you can just go blindside somebody.
Yeah,
which I would do.
Yeah, teacher.
I'm looking at that name now. I looked it up because you were saying that just now. I'm so glad you didn't ask me to read this name because I would have butchered it so bad.
I'm sure it's wrong that way I said it, but that's Kelleher. I mean.
They always say it's like reading names or words that you don't know. It's like reading the weather. Just read it with confidence. It doesn't matter how wrong you are.
Yeah.
Say it confidently, and everybody will believe it.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm sticking to it. So
I like it. Yeah.
But you want to do the Sooner bucket of questions?
Oh,
Rob?
Yep. Sooner bucket of questions.
Are you aware of the Sooner bucket of questions, Scott?
I am.
Okay,
right.
so for those of y'all who don't know listening out there, these may not be about football, life, movies, sports,
Random
dumb stuff. So,
Yeah.
Rob,
All right.
hit it.
So randomly chosen question number 1 is, what's your dream car?
My dream car
Yeah.
would be a 1970 Chevelle.
Ooh, man.
The SS?
Yeah. That's
In a
pretty
world
nice.
where I don't have to worry about gasoline and parts being obscenely hard to find and expensive and all of those things. Yeah, definitely that would be it.
Rob, what's your dream car?
You know what? I just want some. It's probably going to be a pickup, like a 19, I don't know, 40s to 60s. I don't really care, but I want people to feel me coming. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I want it to be a Street Outlaws kind of a sound, and they're like, "Oh my god,
What is that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm driving mine. It's a Jeep. I always wanted a Jeep. It wouldn't have mattered if it was an old Willis Jeep, Army Jeep, any of that stuff. I finally got me a Jeep. Took me 50 years to get one, but I'm finally driving my dream car. So,
Well, ours are cooler.
yeah, y'all's are cooler, but still.
All right, question number 2. Are you ready? You're gonna love it.
I'm living my. But the difference is, Rob, is I'm living my dream. You're not. Ha!
Right,
There you
right.
go.
Yeah. Mine's still a dream. Yep.
Okay, next
right.
question.
Ready?
Yep.
You're gonna have to think long and hard on this one. Pepsi or Coke?
Wait, what?
I'm throwing this one away.
Pepsi or Coke?
Oh, Dr. Pepper.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Listen, you had 2 options, sir.
yeah.
I work in the stadium, and we are actually outselling Coke with Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, well, more people like Dr. Now, are you an alcohol drinker, Scott, at all?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yes, on occasion.
I like it. Oh yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah. Every
Yeah.
morning. So, do you drink?
Drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. Absolutely.
Yeah, but so do you mix a alcoholic beverage with Dr. Pepper or Coke or Pepsi?
When we went to Jamaica, the bartender was making I don't know what language they speak there, but he was calling it something, and it was basically like Crown vanilla with Dr. Pepper and a splash of something else, and that was awesome.
Okay. All right. Next question, Rob.
All right, next question. What is the water boy's girlfriend's name?
Oh my gosh. All right, don't tell me.
This is actually for your man card. You know that, don't you?
All right, so let me think here. I'm trying to recall a scene in my brain where he's like, what is he saying? Like, it's, he's telling his mom everything's the devil.
Yeah.
And she showed me her boobies, and I like them too, or whatever it was.
You remember that part?
Yeah, you remember that part, but
Yeah, of course I want to say like Vicky or something, but I really don't remember.
yeah, you got the first name.
Oh, I have to remember the last name?
Yeah, he always said her last name.
Oh.
He just didn't call her Vicky.
Vicky. Is it like Vicky Valley? Vicky.
Oh, he's right on the tip. Right on the tip.
I don't remember.
Vicky Valancourt, wasn't it?
Valancourt.
Oh,
Vicky
gosh,
He always said Vicky Valancourt. That's
Yeah.
how,
Yeah, he never just said Vicky.
it was Vicky Valancourt.
He was never like, "Hey, girl, what's up?"
Yeah.
Hello, Vicky Valancourt. Anyway.
Yeah. But and before we get, people are probably going to get tired of non-football stuff, but you know what? It's not their podcast. If I can find it. Talk, Rob.
Okay. So as I've said before, The Waterboy is one of my favorite shows. I just love it. I don't know why. I just laugh. And is that one of your favorite football movies?
I think my favorite football movie is Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans.
I do love The Waterboy. I think so. I'm not the world's biggest Adam Sandler fan, but The Longest Yard and The Waterboy are probably like my favorite movies of his.
So this is way off the topic, but you said Remember the Titans. My youngest son loves Remember the Titans, and I bought him a Ronnie Bass jersey for Christmas this year. He looked at me like, what is this? And I'm like, and I buy off the wall stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you bought a Ronnie Bass jersey.
Yep.
Did it have Bass on the back? Did it?
Absolutely did. And it had T.C. Williams on the front.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it was legit.
But he didn't he didn't get it, huh?
No, but they're still cool, and I'm not. So
Yeah.
I'm wearing a Johnny Bench jersey right now. But I don't have any adult supervision either. So
yeah. So one other thing before we get back onto the Sooner stuff is Rob and I are trying to bring back
slang words
that are no longer in use.
Nice slang words.
So we found a list of 150 of them, and we're voting. We're voting on them. And last week's, we're trying to put them into our everyday life and into the podcast. Last week's was Bogart, which is basically don't hog something, I guess is the best way to put it. So you need to help us choose a new one, a new slang.
For this week?
Yeah, for this week. And then we, first off, we'll see if
you even know what it is.
If you even know what it is.
Because sometimes. All right.
Let's see. Shindig. Do you know what a shindig is?
Is that like, after work I got to go to this shindig at the place where we're going to do this thing. It's always like some function that you're getting dragged to.
Yeah, it was a party, 60s party. They called it shindigs.
Shindig.
Shindig. Psych.
As in gotcha.
Yeah, there you go. So, and let's see, let's find one more and figure out which one we're going to. One of my favorite. Cool beans.
Cool beans.
Yeah.
Isn't that just like? Isn't that just saying cool, but also saying beans?
Yeah, it's like it's like, oh, cool beans, man. It's like it's really, really cool, I guess.
So there's a level of cool, and then when you add beans, you take it to a whole nother level.
Yeah, it's an expression. It's an expression of approval. It says. So our choices are cool beans, psych, and what was the other one, Rob? Shindig. Help us pick one, Scott.
I mean, I'd go with psych. I think you could apply that to like everything. You'd be like, oh, you know what? Oklahoma State's not all that bad. Psych!
Yeah.
It's okay to wear orange.
Psych!
Okay, I like it. Yeah.
Texas doesn't suck. Psych! Or no, we can use it on Twitter because when they say Texas is back, psych! That's all we have to do.
That'd be great.
All right. Okay.
Okay, so we've got two words. We're going to, now we got Bogart and we got psych, and we're going to bring them back. So everybody tweet stuff with psych.
Bogart, like you said, it's like hogging stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
it really refers to, well, it's not illegal anymore if you have a prescription for it.
Uh-huh.
But it was a slang for, smoking pot or even a cigarette. Don't bogart, don't bogart the weed. You're sitting there holding the joint the whole time, or if you're sharing a cigarette.
There's no pass.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey man, don't bogart the joint, man. It was kind of how it came from. So,
I never not once ever said that.
But we used to say it about, if you were, I can't remember. I remember using it in high school, but it wasn't all about weed. It was, whatever, somebody, if we were at a keg party, that I never went to. I just saw people at keg parties,
Yep.
you'd hear them, don't bogart the keg.
Yeah.
You're standing over by the keg, just keep filling your glass up. Just stuff like that. So Bogart and psych are our new words.
Did you ever see, what is it? I think How I Met Your Mother, the TV show.
Yeah.
And there's an episode where one of the guys, like, he can learn anything in a foreign language, and he chooses to learn the phrase, hey man, don't bogart the Funyuns. And so that's the only thing he knows how to say in a foreign language, and then all of a sudden he's like surrounded by people who speak this language fluently, and that's all he knows how to say.
Oh man, that is hilarious. Huh.
Don't bogart the Funyun. See? That's a good use for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it means basically hogging it, not letting anybody else letting anybody else have it.
We are expanding our. No, we're not really.
We're expanding everybody else's vocabulary.
Okay. All right.
The one thing, though, back on Sooner stuff that has concerned me is our lack of defensive commitments or lack of interest from defensive players, I think. Now, I could be wrong. We're not experts in it. I'm sure that there's somebody out there who is an expert who could say, oh, no, you're wrong. But I haven't seen it. We don't, the only thing I've seen, I saw this one today, Court Williams out of Bellflower, California, outside linebacker. I guess he was in this weekend and loved it here. He's a 4-star linebacker. Talked about the city of Norman and the university and how they treated him and stuff. That's a good thing. But that's really all I've seen as far as defenders in this 2020 class. Am I missing something?
I don't know, honestly, but I'd like to say, you know how, well, Bill Beatonbow came out this week talking about his line, and he kind of gave a depth, and Michael Thompson's name was not on
that. So moving back over to defense.
Come on.
Yeah, because, we got the 4-star, a 4-star defensive lineman, and they were saying they were going to move him to offensive line this year. Michael
He's
Thompson.
The guy who was playing his whole senior season with a torn ACL and had no idea.
Yeah, junior and senior season. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
what a monster.
Yeah.
Well, he's a great big old boy.
Yeah, and
the grown man right there.
Yeah, and he was going through a physical, is how they found it.
Oh, by the way,
your knee moves in ways it's not supposed to, and that's how they found it. So, and they said this year they were moving him to offensive line because we would probably have a better chance to play. I'm not saying, because, Rob brings that up because, that's one of the things we're wanting to talk about, they pretty much said, I guess it's Adrian Ely and Eric Swinson they appear to be the starting tackles. Marquise Hayes and Tyrese Robinson will probably be the starting guards. And, of course, you put them in there with Creed Humphrey. And kind of what Rob was saying, Beatonbow said, once we get him back in there, it'll be good. When you got the best.
So yeah, they were saying athletically speaking, this should be one of the best offensive lines we've ever had because of these are actually people for the most part. Other than I don't know who Eric Swinson is, but if he's going to be a tackle, he must be pretty good.
Yeah.
But for the most part, these are people that Beatonbow actually recruited. The fact that he just had 4 people drafted and they were just randos that he just they'll do.
Yeah.
And then turns them all into draft picks.
Yeah.
For 4 rounds or something. So he's a wizard.
Yeah. And then, there's Bray Walker, Darrell Simpson, Finley, Felix, David Swaby, and Clayton Woods fill out the depth chart.
Well, and that's surprising as well because Bray Walker last year was the number 1 high school offensive lineman in the nation.
Yeah.
And we got him, we redshirted him, and I just assumed that he was going to be one of the guys,
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I had to too, honestly. Him and Darrell Simpson, they're both mountains. I remember seeing them at some event. I don't know what it was. Maybe it might have been the spring game last year or something. But they were just so much bigger than everyone else. I was like, oh, whose dad is that? I was like, no, they're seniors in high school. And I was like, excuse me?
Okay,
what are you talking about? Look at those people.
Yeah. So, I'm with you guys though. Beatonbow is he's a genius. And
I've heard you guys say it before, but 100% I'm on board of we need to follow him around.
Yeah, we're
screen his calls. I'm all in.
Yeah, I believe we're going to put together a Men in Black crew to, follow Beatonbow around and anybody that is not wearing an OU on their clothing, they can't come up and talk to him without being cleared.
Well, we had that problem with Bob's guys too.
Yeah.
They were always just trying to steal Bob's guys. So.
Yeah. And what did you come up to the spring game this year?
No, they've moved it to Friday in my life.
Well, all the coaches were pretty much, dressed like it was kind of a game, the slacks, and Beatonbow was out there in gym shorts and a T-shirt,
That's the kind of guy you want right there coaching you.
He's the offensive line coach. He's not, he don't need to be dressed up for spring game. But
yeah.
Well, it was good that they changed it to Friday, even though you didn't get to come, because Saturday was cold and it rained all day.
Yeah.
I paid for a hotel, right, for Saturday night. So I still came on Saturday and like went and drank my way around Norman in the rain. And I was like, you got to be kidding. It was awful. That day I found out that I have a hole in both of my shoes because my socks were soaking wet. I was like, for crying out loud. But, I mean, I thought they got 50,000 people or whatever it was. I just wish I could have been one of them. So next year, if they will say we're doing it Friday night, I will take off work or whatever I have to do to be there.
But, you know, and that's the thing. If you figure, I'm going to say there was probably at least 10 to 15,000 people like you. You're the I have talked to more than you that have said, you know, I can't come. I know Conway out in Arizona, he couldn't come. I mean, you know, he couldn't get. He was flying. He'd be flying in late Friday night. Was coming in late Friday night. And there were other people. I know there are a lot of people on Twitter that are down in your neck of the woods that, you know, hey, we're not going to be able to get up there. We already had plans for Saturday, and now, you know, I can't leave work early and all this other stuff. So I'm betting we'd have probably seen 60,000 plus.
Probably. And if we ever get good weather,
we
will eclipse 70. I bet you.
Yeah, because that's weird. I mean, I remember sitting at spring games 10 years ago, and it was like 85 degrees and uncomfortable, and you know, not that many people there. And you know, now, you know,
I remember whatever spring game it was where Baker was competing with Trevor Knight. I guess that was spring of 2015.
Yeah,
and I was like, this is great weather. I was wearing shorts. I was like, this is awesome. And I watched it, and I was like, oh, that Baker kid might do pretty good. I don't know. Trevor Knight's probably still my guy, though, because I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then,
hey, you're not the only one, Scott, because, you know, I remember Rob and I and Caleb sitting around and folks sitting around before we started the podcast talking about, you know, we're putting our hopes into a walk-on quarterback.
I know. But, you know, Trevor had just come off that Sugar Bowl against Alabama.
Yeah.
He just took them apart.
Yeah. So. And then just fell apart, you know, when he came back. But, I mean, that was my whole deal. And Rob, too. It was like, man, you know, the only guy we got to compete with him is a walk-on. You know, well, and then, you know, now he's a walk-on billionaire. And,
yep.
Running around with Tom Brady. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. The headline I saw for that picture was like, Baker Mayfield outswags Tom Brady or something. And I was like, wait, what happened?
I don't know what's do you ever watch Jimmy Kimmel? Or Jimmy?
Yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah, did you see, you know, him and Matthew, or no, what's his name? Goodwill Hunting.
Matt Damon?
Yeah, Matt Damon. You know,
Matt Damon.
Yeah, Matt, they have that fight. You know, they don't like each other. Jimmy's always picking on him and stuff. Well, Brady was on it, I guess, the other night, and they went to this house, and Kimmel said, well, you know, they were seeing how strong Brady's arm was. He goes, can you throw the football through that window upstairs? And he goes, yeah, he throws football on it, and Matt Damon comes running out. Hey, what are y'all doing? And then
that's pretty clever.
Yeah, and then Matt wanted them to take a picture with Brady, and Jimmy Kimmel threw his phone through the glass in the house and said it was an accident. But
oh gosh.
No, but you know, like I said though, the spring game, if we'd ever get a nice day, but the way, I mean, the turnout and stuff, and the way Lincoln's talking, it, you know, I don't know if he would do a Friday, you know, if they want to do a Friday night, because they have stuff going on all day. You know,
well, they got to take him to the what am I trying to say? The Thunder.
Yeah.
What is it called? They did that, and they did that because they wouldn't have been able to do that had they not moved it.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a lot of people. I've heard them say that the recruits really liked that. So,
yeah, they
may
do it.
If you can make that a regular and just do it on Fridays or whatever. I don't really care what day it's on. I've just always been like, why is this not at night?
Well, it may be prime.
Yeah.
It may be Saturday, but it may be prime time.
Yeah,
now
but
on.
and the other, I think a lot of the fans are upset because they canceled the spring sale, the fan fest, mainly the spring sale, because there's thousands of people go to the spring sale. So next year the spring sale should be massive. Because they weren't able to get rid of anything this year. But I think honestly, I saw more people upset that they canceled the spring sale than were upset that they canceled the game. So
I've honestly never been to the spring sale, not once. I've always been like, dude, I'm going to go this year, and then I always go around the corner. I see the line, I'm like, maybe next year.
Yeah.
Hey, my son bought 2 pair of cleats. I think $1 a pair.
Yeah.
And they're both sitting in my closet.
Wow.
I mean, these are $175 cleats, right?
Yeah, and I've said, one of my favorite OU deals, it's a cream-colored Sooners baseball jersey. It has Sooners across the front. It's Nike. It was $10, and I bought 4 of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What? I didn't know it was. I thought it was like you could just buy stuff full price.
No.
I didn't know it was that cheap.
No, and it's not all Sooner related. Like I bought, because they get gear from Nike, okay, or now I guess Jordan, whoever. But we bought Teresa, just 2 regular pairs of Nikes for $5 each.
Yeah.
Get out.
So the
and if you know anybody
if
you know anybody who wears size 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 shoes, they have a buttload of them there, and they're like giving them away.
Last year I went. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say the last year that I went to that sale, it was still in the Santee Lounge, and we were walking through this before everybody knew about it. And they had a box of Nike, coaches pants. I don't know what they were, $2 or $3 a piece, but you had to hem them. And I was like, no, I'm out on that deal because they were like super long. So
no,
I guess they tailor every coach's pant to his,
to them.
Yeah,
but they have like it's literally like a garage sale. I mean, they have basketball practice jerseys, reversible, $2 and $4 and $5, shorts, the stuff like, helmets. They'll have helmets and stuff. Those are a little steep, but they're not as much. But most of the stuff, you can get football jerseys. They don't have anybody's name on the back of them, but I mean, just most of them. Last year I went where they were almost all white. I think probably because all the red ones got bought up. But again, they were like $5 and $10 for football jerseys. So, and
what time does it start in the morning?
What time does the line start, or what time do the doors open? Because those are 2 different times.
Yeah,
and in fact, they're 2 different days.
Yeah,
am I right?
Yeah, some people camp, but
there's people in that line like 5 p.m. the day before, and they sleep there, and they're all funky when they go into shops.
Yeah, but I think it opens up at 7.
Yeah,
7 or 8. But last year, I don't know. I heard they were doing the same thing this year. The last year that I went, I mean, it took forever. But they said last year they changed it to where they let like a group of 50 people in, and they had 10 minutes to shop, and then they had to go to the pay section, and because you'd have people literally. And I'm sure they still did. That would, Scott would walk out of that place with, the Glad super heavy duty construction bags that you can buy that are like 900 gallons. There were, 4 guys walking out with 2 bags like that over their shoulders, stuffed full of it. And they kind of put a stop to that because of everybody being in line so long. They said, hey, you got 10 minutes. You can't come in here and stay for an hour and keep bringing 50 things up here to buy. They put a stop to it. So,
which they should have.
Yeah, but you can get some cool. But I mean, again, it's not all just OU stuff. I mean, they got.
It's aggravating for people to do that, though.
Yeah.
You remember that estate sale that we went to? And as soon as we walked in, there was a table of assigned OU footballs.
Yeah.
And this woman goes, I want all those footballs right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, hold up, girl. What's up?
Yeah, we went to an estate sale last year, 50 years worth of OU stuff. And there was a, one of those folding white tables, church tables, what most people call
big one.
And it was probably 4 footballs high and all the way back.
Yeah.
And this lady walks in and put her hands on, I'm buying all the footballs. Give me the price right now. And we were like, what?
Wow.
So
Yep.
she had a big old roll of cash, but it was, game balls. It was team balls. Coach. I mean, just.
See, those people are just. She went out and threw every one of those up on eBay. I guarantee.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But, well, now it's time for Sooner Not a Sooner. Rob's favorite game.
I love this game.
So
I'm winning, by the way.
you're winning. Okay. Whatever. Okay, so the rules of Sooner Not a Sooner is I'm going to give you a name, and it's either a Sooner or not a Sooner. So pretty simple.
So they've either been a Sooner or they have not.
Correct.
No, or they are not.
Or they are not. Oh, okay.
Yeah, either they were or are a Sooner, or they're not a Sooner. Sooner, not a Sooner. You ready?
Yep.
I'm ready to.
Okay. Derek Wallace, Sooner, not a Sooner.
Derek Wallace. Off the top of my head, doesn't sound like it, but I will say he is.
Rob?
1966 offensive guard.
No. Derek he was I think it was the cross-eyed guy. I can't remember which one. South Central Louisiana State Mud Dogs, Rob.
Oh,
Derek
which one was he?
Derek Wallace. No, Derek was the kicker. Yeah, Derek was the kicker.
Oh, he was the kicker?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, missed that, Rob.
Dang it.
Billy Brooks, Sooner, not a Sooner.
I'll say he is a Sooner.
That name just sounds Sooner, doesn't it?
It does.
Yep.
You are correct. 1976, the 11th pick in the first round. To who, Rob?
The Denver Broncos.
Cincinnati Bengals.
I was close.
Yeah. Ernie McCracken, Sooner, not a Sooner.
What's his name?
Ernie McCracken.
Like, this can't be a real person. He was not real.
All right, bonus points for
I'll
telling
say
us
he's
where he's
not a
from, though.
Sooner.
He's not a Sooner?
I'll say he's not a Sooner.
Okay, you're right. Do you know who he is?
No.
Oh, come on. Rob, do you know who he is?
He's a pitcher.
No.
Oh, okay, no, I don't.
No. He was Bill Murray's character in Kingpin.
Oh, dang it.
Ernie McCracken. God.
Is that a bowling movie?
Do what?
Is that a bowling movie?
Yeah, bowling. You've never seen Kingpin?
Real men don't watch bowling movies.
You gotta be honest, there's a lot of movies I've never seen. I'll be honest with you, I didn't see Top Gun until like 5 years ago.
And?
It's awesome.
Pretty fantastic, right?
But you figured you had to see Top Gun because Top Gun 2's coming out. So, right?
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Yeah, they're making Top Gun 2.
See, I have a shirt that says, because I was inverted. It does, don't it, Harry?
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see. Ray Finkel.
Not a Sooner.
Who is Ray Finkel?
He's the guy from Ace Ventura. Is it 2? Was in this one, right? The one with.
Yeah, it was the first one. Yeah, Ray Finkel.
It's the first one.
Yeah, he was
Finkel.
Laces
With the
Out.
Dolphin.
Laces Out. He was.
Einhorn
Dolphin?
Finkel.
Yeah, Einhorn is
my
Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn.
The name of my trivia team, Terry, when we were up at the when we qualified for the state,
Yeah,
was Einhorn Finkel.
Einhorn is Finkel.
Sure was.
All right, Jackie Shipp. Sooner, not a Sooner.
He's a Sooner.
He's a Sooner. Do you know when he was a Sooner?
No.
Not,
But it wasn't he a coach or something?
Yeah, he was a coach too. 1984, he was a 14th pick linebacker to who, Rob?
The Denver Broncos.
No.
Is that your guess every time?
Probably, yeah, I think it is. No, it was the Miami Dolphins.
I was so close.
Yeah, so close. So close.
I remember somebody talking about Jackie Smith saying, like, before we got, I don't know, like he was here when Brett Venables was here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was coaching when. Yeah.
And people were saying, like, when they ran Brent out of town or whatever, and then Jackie left, and it was like he knew he was going to leave for like 3 years before that, and so his recruiting had been bad or something. And I was like, what? And they're talking about, I was like going back and like looking at like our defense and stuff, and like some of the people who like we had not get drafted, basically. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't remember any of these people. That's why.
Golly. Well, I can believe it. You know,
it does kind of makes a little sense.
yeah. Tommy McDonald.
Tommy McDonald. I mean, it sounds like a football player at the very least, but I'll say he's the Sooner.
Yes, he is a Sooner. We had
I'm
us
glad
worried.
you pulled that one out, bro. You seriously need to Google Tommy McDonald on up.
Yeah, he was 1957.
Oh my God!
Yeah, but I mean,
he never lost a game. Okay,
come on, he was legit.
yeah. Okay, one more. Steve Dunham, Sooner, not a Sooner.
Steve Dunham, is that what you said?
Yep.
Not a Sooner.
You are correct. Do you know who Steve Dunham is?
No.
Rob?
Yes, he was a pitcher for
Oh my God!
and Denver Broncos.
Confidence.
Denver Broncos.
Every time.
No.
The most confident answer you've ever heard.
He was Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin's character in The Longest Yard.
What was his name?
Oh.
Steve Dunham.
Steve Dunham.
Guard Dunham.
All right.
So
He would have a character that is named Steve.
well, yeah, I think it's like Terry Crews. Every movie he's in, his name's Terry.
Well, they may not. They keep calling him in the movie, and they're like, "What?
What?
oh yeah, you're calling me okay."
Yeah, because Terry Crews. Almost every movie he's in, his name is Terry.
And even in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, his name's Terry.
Yep.
So, which I love that show. Right, well,
You guys saw Stone Cold talking about Baker?
yeah. Yeah, he was talking
That was
about
pretty great.
Yeah, and then he tailgates here at Oklahoma sometimes. I'm sure he's
Really?
with. Yeah, I'm sure he's with. Just went blank.
Toby Keith,
No, wrestler.
No.
wrestler.
Jim Ross.
Yeah, Jim Ross.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it's with him. But no, but it was pretty cool recognizing stuff, and then, like I said, I'm sure he's put down a few. What was he? Was he a Bud Light drinker or a Budweiser drinker?
I think it was Coors Light, wasn't he?
Was it Coors? Ugh.
Oh, that's terrible.
I just lost
He
respect.
drinks a light beer. That man drinks a light beer.
I think it was Coors. I think you're right, Rob. I don't think it was Coors Light. I think it was just Coors.
Honestly, I don't remember it all.
Yeah. Ugh. Coors. Rocket. Why is the catcher hugging the umpire?
Because he just got pounded with the baseball.
Okay. We got the Texas Ranger Pittsburgh Pirate game on, and I looked up at the TV, and the catcher's hugging him. Ooh, right in the throat too.
Yeah.
Holy cow!
He probably screamed like a little girl or something.
Yeah.
He immediately,
Look at,
yeah.
it was probably worse than that. It was.
Well, it was only 96 miles an hour.
Yeah,
so,
and only
come
a
on,
96
don't be a
mile.
sissy.
Yeah, right into the shoulder. But anyway, Scott, what else you got, man? Anything else you want to?
Well, we were talking about, what were we talking about? Defensive players for the 2020 class. And I remember we got that Ryan Watts guy. He's a cornerback or something. And I was looking at, his profile, and he's 6'2.5" or something like that, 180, 185 or something like that. I was like, my goodness, he's a cornerback. Because, Parnell Motley is, the biggest cornerback that we have, and he's, barely 6 foot.
Yeah.
And I was like, this guy is huge. Let me think here. We had, a few years ago, we had a terrible game with a guy that I want to say was about that size, Julian Wilson. Do you guys remember him?
I do.
I don't.
And he had a couple of games where I was like, what is happening? He's just you even playing? Do you play football? You played football your whole life? Is this a joke? And someone just running by him wide open. And I'm like, what is happening? So
we were saying about Bookie
I
last
was
year.
really reluctant to be big people or whatever, but everything I've seen of him, I tried to look up some tape with my, my expert eyes that I have for watching football players. And he's fast. It's very fast for a guy that big. I'm surprised he doesn't want to play wide receiver. Maybe he does, I don't know. But him and, let's find here, Dante Manning, he's 6 foot, 175, cornerback. So,
yeah.
they'll both be,
Well,
some of the biggest guys as soon as they step on campus in terms of the secondary.
Yeah, and most of the time your athletes are defensive guys, right? I mean, very few times do they end up. They've got DJ Graham.
I don't know.
5'11".
Adrian Peterson, and I'm just saying.
Well, you know what I mean, Rob.
Oh, okay. All right.
They're not they don't have a position. They're
Right,
an athlete. Generally, when they say they're an athlete, it's a defensive side of the ball. And Michael Henderson is 6'1". But that, I mean, and you go to the offers board, where I'm looking at OU Insider. Is that what you're on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Went to their pro stock. Holy cow! Have you seen Harrison Bailey's picture?
No.
Go to offers. Are you on offers?
Offers. I'm under.
Describe what he looks like.
I'm in the. Yeah.
If you go up to where it says commits, go up to and you click on that button.
Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, I got it.
Okay, is that kid 4 years old?
Yeah, he's tiny.
But it says he's 6'4", but his face looks like he's
no
like
way.
12.
All right.
He's one of those guys that desperately needs to grow a beard.
That's why I did.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, everybody I know kind of threw their hands up. We lost DJ. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're braver than me.
Yeah.
Trying to say that.
Who committed to Clemson. Everybody's like, what happened with him? It's like, okay, we just got the number one quarterback this year, 5-star. You're not going to, every now and then the 5-star, the next year 5-star is going to go, okay, I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah,
it's probably good because Spencer Rattler is the real deal, and he wasn't going to play behind Spencer. I mean,
yeah, Spencer's getting big. That boy's putting on.
Yeah, I keep seeing him posting on like Instagram and stuff, him working out, doing stuff, and I'm like, what do you do other than work? Like most of these other kids, I see them post like in the morning or something. They'll post like them with Benny Wiley doing a workout, and then the rest of the time it's like them at like Waffle House, and then they're like playing Xbox, they're all playing Fortnite or something. And every single post of Spencer Rattler, either he's selling like shoes that he doesn't want anymore, or he's in the gym.
Yeah,
I'm like, this guy's going to come in and be the most jacked quarterback we've ever had.
Yeah,
as a freshman.
Because I mean I'm still saying that Lincoln hasn't named a starter. Okay.
yeah.
And we can all sit back here and say all day long, 99.9% chance it's Jalen. But if Spencer comes in here, and he's had, my understanding is that he's had the playbook. He has trainers and everything else.
I'm sure they sent him a workout and said, do this.
Do that. He hadn't been sitting back there, and the morning after he graduates, he's in Norman.
Oh,
absolutely. It. And what's the Clemson's quarterback name? I mean, he uprooted. I'm just saying it could happen. It wouldn't if you got the a 5-star number one quarterback in the country. He's coming in here to play.
Yeah.
Yep.
He didn't get mad because Jalen was here. He was like, okay,
When I
I think if he comes in here and he's gonna be like, competing right away. And he's like really pushing the other two guys who have been here for a long time.
Yeah.
Then it's like I know people are talking about Lincoln doesn't name a starter until a certain time, so that way somebody doesn't transfer. But if this other guy comes in here and he's competing immediately, Mordecai might transfer anyway. Cause he's like, oh, forget it. Like this guy just got here, and I'm supposed to back him up next year too. I'm out.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, how do you get somebody to come here when that Austin Kendall just transferred, and now this other, if what's his name, Mordecai transfers.
But in some of it, it's know your role. I mean, there's been a lot of good backup quarterbacks. That, when it comes time, look, who was it? With Jason White was the backup to Hibble, and then they brought Jason White into play, and then he blows out a knee. And then the next year, yeah. So, I mean,
who's the famous guy? This is going to look really embarrassing here. All right, Dallas Cowboys quarterback. And he played for OU and, like, broke his ankle or something.
Troy Aikman.
And
Troy Aikman.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
Troy Aikman. And then he transferred somewhere, and we won the
UCLA.
national championship.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah, exactly.
Jamel Holloway, came in as a true freshman. Up until last year was the only true freshman quarterback to ever win a national championship.
Yep.
And
just showing my age already with my Sooner name knowledge.
Hey, well, guess what?
Who's the guy?
Guess what?
He was over there.
It doesn't get any better. We can have names wrote down, and we misplace a piece of paper, and we can't remember people's names. So.
Oh, good. So excited.
Unfortunately.
Just looking into my future right now.
Yeah, Rob half the time calls me Larry. So. But anyway, no, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what these guys, what this defense does and what this. Because I honestly think a lot of these kids these defensive players that aren't committing or laying back, they want to see what this defense is about. You can sit there and tell them to watch Washington tapes all day long. It's not the same. Well, that's what he did in Washington. Is he going to do the same thing here? We assume, but he may have some tweaks to it that, he's learned. He learned over the years that he wants to add to it. But, not that we would expect any freshmen to come in and light it up on defense, but you want to see, a crew stepping in here.
We were hoping last year that Buki was going to step in and shut that defense down.
Yeah, and be a leader, and it didn't happen. And, it may happen this year. I don't know.
It could.
We don't ever like to, dog players, but just as much as people get mad at a quarterback, I got mad at a safety last year, bunch of times.
We yelled and screamed at him a bunch. Yeah,
no different than I screamed at, Kenneth Murray or Bolton or pick a corner.
Yeah, pick a corner. Literally
pick a defensive back. Where's our safety? I don't know.
Yeah, but it's just frustrating to watch, and it's, I don't want to say embarrassing, but it's frustrating to listen to, for 2 years now, and it really 3 years is Oklahoma's got 4 years. Oklahoma's got a really good offense, and then really, really good offense, then the best offense. But man, can their defense stop anybody? Because Oklahoma's going to get theirs. Can the defense keep the,
And honestly, that spills out into the conference.
Yeah.
Now the whole Big 12 doesn't play defense.
Yeah.
When TCU clearly does play some.
Yeah, except against
defense.
Oklahoma.
Well, nobody can really play defense.
Yeah, exactly. But, so that's going to be interesting to see what Grinch does. And I like his attitude. We've said it more and more. Just kind of, I ain't happy with it, Yeah, they put effort out.
We've had some kids transfer already from, I don't know if they're just being like, oh, I don't really see how I fit.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I don't like his tone. First day he came in here and said blah, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know what the reasons are, right? I haven't talked to any of them, obviously, but I'm just saying, some have already left, and I fully expect that as soon as, summer camp goes and as soon as fall camp starts, that people are seeing where they're at, the writings on the wall with the depth chart, or their version of 110% is not Grinch's version of 110%, right? And so some people are gonna, maybe they're gonna get hurt about it, and they're gonna want to transfer, or they're gonna unfollow people on Twitter, or whatever they're gonna do. And I'm just trying to mentally ahead of time prepare myself to just be fine with people. If it's you got to cut off the hand to save the body, or whatever it is. Just let the kids go, and hope that whoever's left really wants to be here. And then that, kind of shows the people coming in that, this is, we're not going to baby you. You got to be an adult. And I feel like Mike Stoops had that attitude. They just thought he was a dick.
Yeah.
They didn't care. And they're like, screw you, dude. I don't even care.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just how it was. If you have somebody tell you something, and, the gunnery sergeant's yelling in your face and calling you every name in the book and stuff, and then, the captain comes over and says the same thing to you, and all of a sudden it makes sense when he said it. They're saying the same thing, right? One of them was just a dick to you, and it wasn't speaking your language. So,
Yeah, but, I mean, and I get what you're saying, but, I mean, I know a lot of people, and I don't, I'm not saying that you're saying this completely, but a lot of people are like, well, it's a different, different kids nowadays, and if it is, but you know what? Football is football. I mean, we can talk. Mike Stoops didn't teach these kids to tackle like that, and it was not a part of his scheme. It was not a part of this. I think, the kids didn't relate, but maybe they weren't, or maybe he wasn't allowed. I don't know. Grinch is just, he came out a couple of weeks ago and said, everybody here, whether you're a walk-on or a 5-star, you can't say you haven't had a chance to play at Oklahoma, because right now everybody's got a chance to play. You come out, you give the max effort, you go to the ball, you tackle, you're around the ball when it's there, you're going to play. It's just that simple. And whether or not, to me, that I'm sure Mike was saying the same thing, but I know that from seeing stuff and hearing stuff, the riders and everything, they were basically physically pulling kids off the field for missing tackles. Just get off, go sit down. You're not going to put anything better into that in it. Go sit down.
Well, we were saying that about Book, y'all. Set his rear end.
And that's old school. That's what it was. I was not a great football player. I was a good high school football player, but our coach, if you took a play off, get ready. Wadsworth was going to be on your tail.
Well, here's the thing. That's the difference between, I think, college and pro. Those kids want to play. They love to play. And if they're doing something that's going to jeopardize their playing time, they're going to change it.
Right.
It's not like that in the pros. Set me, I don't care. I'm still getting millions of dollars.
But it's whether or not those guys, maybe they didn't believe Mike. Maybe they were just like, fine, who are you going to put in here? And I'm at that point with this group, honestly. You know what? Me and Rob still have eligibility left. I can't do, I can fill a gap, right?
Fill a gap.
Right. I'll walk on if they need people to walk on. It's just something, what's the word I'm looking for? It's got to change the mentality. The mentality of our defense has to be like the mentality of our offense. Our offense is nothing you can do will stop us. We promise you. Okay, we are going to score 40-plus points on you. Our defense.
Like Ben Powers said last year, he was like, I like to look into a grown man's eyes and take his dreams and crush them or whatever.
Our defense doesn't have that attitude of we're going to come out here. Paul Miliazzo said here in the Podcast Palace and said when they realized in 1984 and 85, they took it personal if somebody scored on them. It was, and if it was your fault, if it was your misassignment, you were held not just by the coaches but by the team as responsible for fouling up. And when they got that mentality and going, it's not just about the Big 8, it's about being national champions. That's what we're going to do, and we're going to hold each other accountable for being this. That's when that team turned around. And you know what? For 4 years, only one team beat them, and that was Miami. Mm-hmm. That was the only team they couldn't beat. But Miami never ran over them.
I'm pretty sure they were cheating.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, 100% they were cheating.
Well, yeah, that was known. They were all getting every touchdown. Somebody was standing over there with dollar bills, putting them in their belt, and every rapper and gang member was on the sidelines for that team. But that's what has to happen. The mentality of the guys that's there now. They have to change their mentality and go, you know what? And I don't think I think someone like Murray. And even Bolton, they weren't, they knew it wasn't acceptable. It wasn't. Yeah. I think some of them were given effort, but you know what? When you're not tackling, that's lack of effort. I don't care what anybody says. It's not coaching. It's not.
There's some video out there that OU put out from practice, and Grinch is standing in the middle of the huddle talking about. There's one speed, and it's your max speed, and I don't care how you feel. I don't care what the call is. I don't care what they just did, blah, 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 right? Like, this is what I expect from you 100% of the time, type of thing. And I was like, did you guys not know that? Like, come on. Like, I don't know what I expect. I've never played college football, right? I was a basketball person, and I don't get – I understand, like, going for a rebound, and the coach can tell I loafed for a rebound. He's like, you know what, maybe you should just sit down.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man. You can tell immediately. It's like I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. And they're like, oh, God.
Well, I'll never, to this day, I remember it. I got banged up in a game my senior year, and it was my own fault, okay? But, and I was mad, okay, because we got embarrassed. We were like the number one ranked team in 5A. We had just beaten Tulsa, Washington, the number one ranked team in 6A. No, we were 4A and they were 5A. And, we were cocky, and we came out and an 0-6 Shawnee beat us, I think it was 16-0, okay? And it was like in the third quarter, they either intercepted a pass or picked up a fumble or anything. And I had the angle, and I was jogging, okay? And I got blindsided, clipped on the knee, went over in, and it hurt my knee pretty bad. They took me out of the game for a little bit, and I was able to walk it back off, came back in for the rest of that embarrassment. But watching the films, Coach McMullen, the offensive line coach, tore me a new one.
He seen you jogging?
Yeah, he was like, look at this, guys. He just kept taking it back and forth. You want to know what happens when you loaf? This is what happens when you loaf. Ain't that right? If you were going full, and just the film going back and forth of me flipping in the air, back to the flipping in the air. And I was like, oh, my God.
That's what you get.
Yeah, that's what, and he was right. I was mad. It was like, it was one of those deals where you're getting beat. You're just like, the heck with it. We're not going to win this stupid game anyway, and it was a bad attitude to have. And he made an example out of me right in front of everybody over and over and over and over. Yeah. And it was embarrassing. Guess what? It never happened again. I was full speed everywhere I went, coming on the field, off the field, going to get a drink of water. But, and it, like you said, do these guys who are elite athletes not know that that's how you play defense regardless of the defensive scheme? Well, yeah, it's... Anyway, I'm going to get depressed again. I'm not going to talk about the defense. But, Rob, you got anything else? I think we better start wrapping this thing up.
Yep.
You good? Nothing? Yep. No enlightenments that you could share with us?
About sports? No.
That's all anybody really wants to know from you, Rob. Right. So, Scott, what about you? We got anything else you want to touch on?
No, I think that's everything. I saw that Austin Kendall completed 5 passes in the West Virginia spring game. I don't know how good or bad that is. He had 8 attempts, completed 5 passes, but I think one of them was 60 yards and one of them was 39 yards. So I mean,
was the defense on the field? That's the question.
It's West Virginia, so no.
Was he playing against? Was that warm-ups or game? No, but.
Yeah.
Well, I hope he does well against everybody, but Oklahoma. I mean, he was a good kid. Hey.
We're going to have to play him for 2 years.
No, are we? Or is he a graduate transfer?
He graduated in 3 years.
No, I think
he only gets one.
Yeah, I think you only get one if you graduate in 3 years. So
because he played in 2016 as a backup to Baker when he was a true freshman. He redshirted the 2017 season because Kyler was here, and then last year he was the backup. So he's played 2 years.
Yeah, and see,
I don't know how it works.
That's the other thing that you got to remember too with Spencer Rattler. Okay, the new redshirt rule. He can play for 4 games.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So if it, and we got, North Dakota or one of the Dakotas, Houston will be pretty interesting, but. If he gets to play in those, if they put him out there and playing in those games, and then you just go, I mean, they'll eventually redshirt him. But if it's a competition, there's 4 games to figure it out.
Yeah,
3 games to figure it out.
They'll do that because they're going to want to get Jalen the stats.
Yeah,
you never know.
But if it's a competition, is what I'm saying. I mean, because
you're right.
It's not a guarantee. Ask Austin Kendall. It ain't a guarantee you're the next up just because you're here.
That's right.
So, yeah. But anyway.
Oh, I know what I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Sneak this in real quick if I could.
Yep.
So I wanted to ask you guys about this. If, let's just say, Jalen Hurts plays a perfect season,
okay, do
you think there's some conspiracy that would keep him from winning the Heisman so they didn't have to give it to Oklahoma 3 years in a row?
No.
Do you think they'd actually give it to him?
I think so. I think if he's... I think I think you saw that this year. That was a lot of people's concern this year was, oh, they're not going to give it to a quarterback in the same, if he comes out and lights it up and, what is comparable, or a little bit better stats than Tugboatalova or whatever, Tua, just like Kyler, people, if he does a better job, and I think that with, because a lot of the voters, they start seeing, hey, you know what, these guys are, Baker was the best player without a doubt. Kyler was the best player without a doubt. If it's without a doubt, I don't think.
Well, the people in Alabama don't agree with you.
Yeah.
Or the people at Ohio State, they don't agree.
But I mean, I don't think that will be. I would be more surprised if he not that he wins the Heisman, but if he was the number one pick, that would be. Then you would have the NFL guys going, well, is it the system or is it the quarterback? But that also tends to be on how Kyler does in his first year. Yeah. If he comes out and lights it up,
and he's going to get every chance to do that.
Yeah,
because he's going to be the starter.
But if he comes out, I think you're going to see him. His Heisman odds went from as the backup from like 9-1 to to what 6-1, or it was 10-1 to 6-1, and most people say he will be there. He will he'll be in New York. It
needs to be a perfect storm. Like I say, Tua's good. And Alabama's going to be undefeated again. So if they have a fantastic season and his stats are up there, Tua's probably going to win it.
Yeah,
it would take some amazing stats to beat him this time.
But I still think it's possible. I don't think the reason is going to be they're not going to give it to Oklahoma because it's 3 years in a row. I think people would welcome that and go, holy cow, look. And I think, seriously, I think that's the respect people have gotten, for Lincoln is look what he's done with, think about it. We talked about on our video that Kyler Murray was the number one draft pick and played college football 1 year.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. 1 year, and a lot of it's him, but a lot of that's his coaching and development, and I've said it before. We've named podcasts that and videos. Jalen Hurts came to Oklahoma to get into the NFL because he wasn't going to get into the NFL in Alabama because of Tua, not because Tua was that much better. I don't think. I think Tua was just good enough to beat him out, and that's who Nick took. I just think it's a very good possibility. He comes out here, wins the job, and has a year like Kyler does, or did, or like Baker did.
Could very well happen.
Yeah. Look out. We'll be sitting here
Crossing my fingers.
Yeah, we'll be sitting here next year having the same conversation about Spencer and about the defense. So
can we go back to back to back to back?
Well, hopefully next year we're sitting here going, man, can you believe how well our defense improved?
I'd rather be saying, hey, doesn't that new national championship trophy look good?
Yeah, because remember, we got to be, if we all want, we were 64th 2 years in a row, and we were like just get into the 40s. So now we got to be like 4 times better than what we were.
So number one?
Yeah. We were 114th, so, we need to move up, 96 points or something. So
129th against the pass out of 129 teams.
Yeah, 129th in red zone.
We were probably 129 out of 128.
129th in turnovers.
Ugh.
No, was it turnovers? No, or third down. It was either turnovers or third down. We're the worst statistically in the red zone and on third down too.
And yet we still made the playoffs.
Yeah. So, but anyway.
Let me go find a bucket real quick.
Scott, man, we appreciate you joining us again. It's been fun. We look forward to seeing you, this year swing by the tailgates. And I think you stayed out of hot water with the love of your wife. So, but you guys are welcome to come by there and hang out with us anytime. But we appreciate you being on. And
absolutely,
that's it, everybody, for this podcast. Boomer up.
Boomer Terry.
Boomer Scott.
Boomer.
Thanks for listening to the Sooner Football Fans Podcast. Sooner Football Fans Podcast is hosted by Rob Nixon, Terry Long, and occasionally Caleb Long. It is produced at the beautiful Podcast Palace in Norman, Oklahoma. Follow us on Twitter at Sooner FB Fans, and like our Facebook page at Facebook.com/Sooner Football Fans, and visit our website at www.SoonerFootballFans.com to read our blogs and keep up with our tailgating activities. Boomer Sooner, everyone.